Immigration, the big lie. Immigrants are stealing our jobs, changing our way of life, and putting pressure on our public services. Or so we're told. The higher the level of immigration, the more people are concerned about it. Apparently, this anxiety tends to be highest among older members of the population, who have the least to be anxious about when it comes to competition for jobs from migrant workers or access to limited social housing. Funny also that concern about immigration tends to be highest in those areas of the UK where the fewest migrants live. Take Clacton, where UKIP won that famous by-election in October last year. According to the last census, fewer than 1 in 20 residents of Clacton were born abroad. This is a town with a population that's almost entirely white British. Yet what was the main issue that propelled UKIP to victory in Clacton? A fear of invisible immigrants. Now consider, on the other hand, the City of London, which has a higher proportion of migrants than any other region of the UK. Yet UKIP has failed to make inroads in the capital. Diversity hasn't harmed London. There's been no backlash against migrants there. Funny that. But this hostility to immigration, it's a new phenomenon, right? Wrong. If you go back to 1978, 37 years ago, you find even then that when Gallup did a survey on this subject, 70% of the great British public said they felt the UK was being swamped by people from different cultures, even though net migration at that time was negative. More people were leaving the UK than were arriving, and had been negative for more than a decade. So antipathy towards immigration isn't always driven by the number of immigrants. Often it's based on good old-fashioned fear of and prejudice against the other, of outsiders, foreigners, people who look or sound different. What's that called again? I know what you're thinking. There he goes again. You can't shut down the debate on immigration by crying racism. It's what the left, it's what liberals always do. Well, check out this graph from YouGov. A quarter of Britons, and tellingly, a majority of UKIP supporters, think the government should encourage immigrants and their families to leave Britain, including family members who were born in Britain, i.e. people like me, or my 7-year-old daughter. That, ladies and gents, has traditionally been the view of the far right, now shared by 1 in 4 Britons and more than half of UKIP supporters. Is there any more evidence needed that the so-called immigration debate, based on a big fat lie about numbers, is now toxically out of control? And so the only question for our politicians is this: do you want to tell the truth to your electorate, to the voters, or just indulge and fuel their worst prejudices? Do you want to lead, educate and shape public opinion? Or do you just want to blindly follow it? The choice is yours.
Racism is a business. For centuries, it has underpinned global economic exploitation. And like any successful business idea, it needs great marketing, PR and advertising to ensure lasting success.